Welcome to Buried Rocks, the podcast where me and my three friends from high school, Dave, Corey, and Mark, discuss bands that maybe are not on your Spotify playlist. Each week we'll discuss the band's highs, lows, and where they are today, and maybe we'll even have a guest star or two. I'm Roy, so sit back and get ready for a new episode of Buried Rocks.
Uh-oh.
Hey, there we go.
Now we're fucked.
What?
That's it.
It's recording.
There we go.
I'm just waiting to see how far when the lawsuits begin and the cease and desist letters show up.
Cease and desist is always cool.
Yeah. All right. Welcome to Buried Rocks, New Jersey. This is a show that is going to be all based upon a niche music or niche music that we know and love, and primarily from the later 70s into the 80s. And we're four high school friends from a million years ago. Should I say when we graduated, or some of us did. Not this guy. But at the same time, uh, we have this synergy because we all like this kind of music and we grew up with it and it was a big hit in our schools. So, with that being said, my name is Roy McDonald, and I did go attend Roxbury High School, and that's why we call it Buried Rocks in Succothon, New Jersey. If you spell it correctly, you get $5 from me. But I do remember you three, of course. How exactly, this is going to be the part that's going to be a little tough for me because I did leave school early, as I alluded to earlier, because I just thought I would be the king of the earth. And, it worked out for me. So why don't we start again with Dave and tell us about this whole idea of Roxbury High School and how we all got together and what the music was and all the things that you can remember.
Well, when you say fragmented, you got that right because I have large parts of that part of my life that all I remember is like being in the smoking lounge right off the school bus. And then you went around back and you were able to get high before homeroom, which was about 20 after 7 in the morning. And then I'd forget everything after that. Um, But also, you should know that I arrived at Roxbury High School in the middle of my 10th grade year in 1977 over Christmas break. I just appeared in January because we moved from one part of Jersey to another over Christmas. So I came in kind of awkward and it was a learning curve, learning a new style of people. Things back then you didn't have all the reach into the media and the social aspects that we have today. So I was really awkward. Plus, I was 14 years old.
Let's see. I met Corey. We were talking about this. We played football together in like 5th grade.
Yeah.
And shoot, I got a team picture somewhere.
Yeah, me too. And did we both go to Roosevelt too?
Yeah, everyone went to Roosevelt.
Okay.
And we used to hang out. I don't know what period it was. I had Mr. Ferguson's math class, and for some reason, we would just got in this habit of spending half an hour a day in the boys' room and just shooting shit.
Yeah. Now,
no one bothered us.
Do you remember Mrs. McCluskey's class in was it 8th grade or 7th grade?
No.
Okay, there was a class that had one of those folding walls that could be closed off and it could be turned into two rooms. And
Right.
slide it open and it would be like all bunched up on one side. Well, we would
That's the high school, right?
no, that was in seventh or eighth grade.
Okay.
I don't know which one, but whenever we were having films, which seemed to be quite often, we would sit. Do you remember? We would sit right next to the folding doors. This is a really good fucking story. The folding doors, and we'd be sitting right here. Folding doors would be kind of a little in front of us. And as soon as the freaking film started, one of us would sneak behind the folded up door, open up the window, go outside, come in through the door into the hallway that was just off to the left, and then walk into the classroom. And the teacher would be like, the fuck? And then the other one would do it and go out the window, walk in, come back in the fucking classroom door. And she just fucking not know what. Never said anything. We did it multiple times, man. It was fucking great.
It would have been.
I was a real, introverted nerd for like 6 months trying to meet people. And where did you meet them? In the smoking lounge. And, the music connections were great because those are my memories. People turned me on to music that I'd heard of but didn't really listen to. And, that's where I think I already had an interest in what wasn't popular, what things that people didn't, listen to regularly on the popular radio stations. It was more fun to listen to the underground stuff. So you had to have it, you didn't have all these things we have today to find music. So if you could find a good radio station, maybe at the low end of the dial, or friends that had this music already and listened to it at their house, that's where it all came from. And it was, really eye-opening when the first time you heard Black Flag, or the first time you heard the Circle Jerks, or of course the Dead Kennedys. I mean, to me, as soon as I heard the name Dead Kennedys, I went, wow, this is something for me. It's going to piss my parents off. And, then you heard the music and said, yeah, it's right up my alley. Even though it was kind of a new genre to me in 1977, 78, 79. You know what I mean? So anyway, I don't know if I gave you enough information about where I came from, but that was my point of view joining Roxbury High School.
It's very interesting what you said about the smoking lounge because for those of you who don't know, and nobody knows this, by the way, even the kids that go to school there today think I'm smoking crack or something. But yes, indeed, at this time period, there was a smoking lounge in the back and it was for the students. So if you wanted to smoke cigarettes out back, you could. And of course, we took that to the next level because there was a big lawn there, and we would get high, like Dave said. And
And it wasn't just a lounge, right? It was like any door on the south side of the building you could walk out and stand on, basically an area as big as a football field.
yeah,
Do you guys remember any of the keggers in the woods?
oh yeah,
Yes.
Okay.
I got a whole story about that if you want
Me
it.
too.
yeah. I was there the day they got busted. And I think they got busted because they kept going in and buying cups from the lunch ladies, and they were selling them for $0.10 a piece or something. I remember, and I think somebody called on, why do they need these cups? Meanwhile, they're in the back with a half keg, fucking drinking. It's nothing like a few drinks before algebra.
Yeah, exactly.
What's the stories that you guys remember from that?
From the kegger?
Yeah.
Corey, you got to go first on this one because I got one that is, believe me, it's burned into my mind.
Do it. No, mine's can't be
Really?
anything like that. Yeah.
Okay, well, because I barely made it to where the keg was standing. I don't even know if I actually had a beer. But of course, it was graduation year for me. It was 79. And I was still, even though I'd been there now for a year and a half, I was relatively new with a lot of people. So I kind of was peripherally friends with several groups. The guys from Landing, the guys from Roxbury down in Succasunna, way down Hillside Avenue and stuff like that. Like I knew people enough by going to parties at their houses. But I wasn't really tight with any one group. So always kind of, because I lived in a town called Mount Arlington, which was at the end of the earth in Roxbury Township. And, you got on a bus about an hour before school started. And you were the first one on and the last one off. But anyway, at that kegger that day, I mean, I don't know how much of this you can keep, Mark, but I had a half ounce of weed. And I remember back in the day, you wore these acid wash pants, and they were very baggy. And of course, you didn't put them in your pocket because it wasn't big enough. You put it in your shorts, you know? And I remember all of a sudden the kegger being broken up by the administration, like if everybody remembers somebody that was known as Blinky, he was one of the assistant principals, and
Thompson.
he had an eye issue where he couldn't stop blinking his eyes. But I don't even remember his real name. But he had
Thompson.
blonde hair and a mean disposition. And I remember being chased in the woods as that thing broke apart with this half ounce of weed slowly sliding down as I'm running. And if I stopped, I would have been grabbed. And I kept running. I don't remember if I saved the weed or not, but I did get away. I ended up at what? Can you say other people's names?
Why not?
There was a fellow that lived near the school named Wayne Riga, and we
Yeah,
ended up at his house. And I don't remember if I had my weed or not, but I survived. And when we heard later that day that anybody who was caught was not allowed to participate in graduation, my parents would have strung me up
he-
if that happened to me. You know, so
Well,
I
somebody
don't
got
remember
it.
if I even had a beer. I just remember seeing the principals and the teachers chasing us like track stars, and we were running faster than them. And some people didn't. I remember a guy named Tom Cornine standing there staring at us while we were all in our caps and gowns a couple of days later, and he wasn't allowed to graduate because they caught him.
Oh shit!
I think
I should
he's a
ask him
big,
that.
fast dude, wasn't he? He played football.
Yeah, yeah. I
And they
bumped
caught
into him
him.
years later, but I couldn't bring it up. I was like, that could be a really bad story.
Oh, next time I see him, I'm gonna bring it. I just was with him like a couple of weeks ago at John's thing, so we all had dinner together. But yeah, I'm definitely gonna bring that up.
Yeah, you know,
But the funny thing is, that in 1979, your grade, they had the big party at Horseshoe Lake,
Horseshoe Lake, sure.
and they had a beer truck there that the kids saved up their money, and that's what they were going to do as their party, the class of 79, and the school matched the funds. So kind of fucking hypocritical, if you ask me.
Well, it just shows you what was socially acceptable back then, you know? And I mean, I got hammered that night in Horseshoe Lake. I remember that.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Oh, yeah, that was a good time. You know, you remember the car you were driving, you know, that lasted only a short time before you wrecked it. Thankfully, not that night. But, you know, we've all got, I'm sure, a couple of stories about some of the things you got away with because, you know, the social, what was accepted. Like you say, the school helping us with a beer truck. And, you know, the drinking age was 18 back then.
Yeah.
And I was only 17.
And there were a few bands that played. I remember that.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's why we talked about this because it's full circle coming back to music, which is why we're here anyway. So, Mark, you remember that time, obviously. What
yeah.
were you listening to then? Because I think we
Well,
all
I want to change gears on you, Roy, because Dave, you know, Dave got away from Blinky Thompson, and
Thompson.
yeah.
I
The
like
other
them.
principal looked like Spock from Star Trek. I can't remember his name either.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I remember this guy from sixth grade?
Oh yeah, man. I thought he was cool too. All these guys you hated, I got along with.
The big joke on him is he would go,
Hey.
"You get
Yeah.
out of here."
It scare the shit out of you.
hang loose, or did he not have fingers? I don't know.
No,
he was missing the middle three.
he was a veteran.
That's all he had.
Oh, seriously? What, he got him shot off or something?
I don't know.
Did anybody ever ask?
No, nobody had the balls.
Hey, dude, where's your fingers, man?
I liked him. I thought Butler, that was his name.
Butler, yeah.
I thought he was cool as shit, man. I got in trouble a bunch of times, and I thought he treated me very fairly.
No kidding.
Mr. Thompson too. I got in some shit in high school, and he was decent to me, man. I thought he was really good to me. I have total respect for him, actually. So that's just me, you know.
Yeah, you're losing some of your cred now, Corey.
I would go into his office, and he would just be like this, and he would just look at me, and he goes, "Okay, if you were me, what would you?" And I'd say, "I'd suspend me." Because that was like 3-4 days off, man.
I got in trouble. I was in the bullpen, which they called the place where you waited for somebody
Yep.
to come and crucify you.
And
And I said something to a teacher, like bad language.
me too.
And then when I got in there, he said to me, what did you say that? What did you say? I said, look, I didn't say it to him. I said it when I was walking away. So he turns around to the wall and he says, fuck you, asshole. And then he looks at me and goes, guess who I just said that to? Me? Okay, I get it.
He always had me by the balls, man, because he would say something and it would be like, you're right. That's
So
just me.
funny.
So there was a time, Corey, we were down at the shore, just righteously wasted 3 different ways in
Yep.
your goat.
Yes.
Oh, what year?
67.
Oh, cool.
And we pulled up to a stoplight, and I stood with some kid in his mother's white Impala.
Oh, you remember.
Yes. It's amazing. Yeah. Don't ask me what I had for breakfast, but and we're at the stoplight. It was like American Graffiti, he's revving the engine up, and you had like nitro burners on that thing or something.
Flip
And it
this
was a
switch.
35-mile-an-hour zone. We blew away from there and never saw the guy again. And coasting, in this 35 at about 80 or 90 miles an hour and go right past a cop car waiting to pull onto the road. And
Oh,
we're
God.
like, fuck. And we pull over, park the car on the shoulder. Corey takes the keys out of the ignition,
Wow.
throws them in the back seat. We're like, tick, 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 tick. Oh, he's not coming. And we dive in the back seat, grabbed the keys, and drove away. We would have been so arrested because we had different kind of drugs in the glove compartment, in our pockets, and in our bloodstream, a case of beer. We're underage, 90 miles an hour and a 35. We weren't going home that night.
But we did.
I don't know why didn't he chase you? Was he too preoccupied talking to his girlfriend or something?
Yeah, must have been. It was. I don't know how he couldn't. We flew by him. I mean, it just must have been a blur.
Maybe he thought he didn't see it.
Good thing we were going fast.
Done, done, done.
Who's
So,
next?
what?
Who's next?
I don't know.
There was a script.
Yeah,
Oh,
right.
We
Should I
gotta
do the-
mention our dear friend and what is she, executive producer, ace whipcracker,
yeah.
Cindy Oxbury, who, if it weren't for her, we would not be here today. She's the one that, kept us going and kept us motivated and took care of all the details, but she couldn't make it today.
That's
Yeah,
fine.
is it-
We
is this
really
a busy
appreciate
time?
what you've done to put this all together. That's for sure. Because I couldn't
Absolutely.
even be this far. I mean, I got a fancy old microphone hanging from my office desk
See
here,
that?
and
So-
that's because of her suggestion.
Well, already we've spoken about nothing but us, which is cool,
Yeah.
But
Well,
we
yeah,
didn't-
well, that's what we're supposed to do. But she's helped me so much
Oh,
in
yeah,
terms of just my thought process to try to make this interesting.
exactly.
So
So my
I have a
question-
lot to be thankful for with Cindy. And then when she's not here, I'm looking at Mark or Roy or Corey going, you guys, anytime you want, just sort of jump up with some constructive criticism, because otherwise I'm just yammering.
My question.
I think that's the subtitle of this show. It's just us yammering.
Yeah, I like that.
Is Cindy Oxbury from Roxbury?
No, I never put that together.
I did immediately. I'm like, this seems fishy.
But what are you going to do? Yeah, so Cindy is good for us because she's a good producer, and she'll be able to wade through the bullshit and get to the good nuggets. Because in any
Yeah,
podcast,
the good news is we're going to be a little more disciplined going forward.
Fuck
Yeah.
that.
This is as good as it gets from my side.
Yeah.
You realize
I'm
that.
sorry, man. Unless we're gonna do research.
I've been trying to work on I've been trying to work on just because we're only audio, not visual, but
What?
well, so far.
Really?
But I've been working because I like Roy's background of that old Queen shot, and I'm a
Yeah,
little
there's
tired of
Freddie.
looking. I'm a little tired of looking at mine, and I'm thinking there's got to be a way. And I did it when I was in work, and I put a photo from my phone as a backdrop, and I've got plenty of good ones. And I'm sitting here noodling with it this morning because I didn't know when the meeting was starting, and I still have no idea how to do it. So I think that when it happens, it happens. It's going to be like just a mistake that I made and clicked on something the wrong way, and I go, oh, look at that. Oh, let's maybe not show that.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that Corey's got the most interesting natural.
Yeah, that's why I come over here. So it's a lot better than what I could provide elsewhere.
But Dave, I do like the Buddy Guy poster that he signed.
Yeah.
So that's
Oh,
cool.
hey, I mean, I've got some great ones. If I turn this thing around, I got an old Led Zeppelin t-shirt from the show I saw. I got all sorts of great stuff on the walls. My wife was breaking my stones about it. It took me like 3 days to take everything off the walls just so I could clean it up and paint it again and then hang everything back up. I got some nice artwork from my family up here, some photographs, got my dad up there.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, yeah. So there's great stuff. I made a collage of ticket stubs. I got some great old photographs and stuff. I mean, I can bring it in as time goes on. Maybe that's what I'll do. I'll just try to twist the share around and the camera around and point at a different wall.
And over here, yeah, that's
Yeah.
funny.
I
Yeah.
really what I need to do is I need to go down the basement and dig out my boxes of stuff that my wife told me to throw out. And it's from those days. There might even be a yearbook down there. And because I honestly, you want to talk about 1978, 79, right through 81, 82. There are holes as big as Montana in my mind from those days. I just don't remember large parts of it. And I think everybody knows why.
I'm amazed at how much I retained.
Well, let's hear something. I'm dying to hear it.
Retained? Well, I was one of
Something
the
you retained.
I was one of those people who wasn't supposed to be allowed to go to graduation because one of the for multiple reasons. One of the cops found an empty beer bottle under the seat in my car. One of the school cops.
The rent-a-cops.
And yeah, rent-a-cops. And I got in trouble for that. And I think they figured out I made this bong in pottery class called the Druid.
Yeah.
And it was a big tree trunk with a face on it. And you put your fingers on its eyes, and its mouth was a bowl. I made a removable tongue that stuck out of it, and you just took the tongue out, and it was a bowl with the whole. And you just had to stick a screen in there. And I think they figured it out because it got into the art show, and it was up in the front showcase. And I think halfway through the art show, somebody figured out it was a bomb. So between that and the beer bottle, I was, I don't know. My mother fucking bitched him out and somehow got me into graduation. So I did have to go to the graduation ceremony. I personally didn't give a rat's ass, but
All right, Corey, you just brought up two stories for me. One was the actual graduation. And when you go up, when you walk, they hand you the binder, but there's no diploma inside. It's just a piece of tissue paper. And Corey sat in the front row facing the whole stands of the football stadium and sits back down, opens up the binder, pulls out the tissue paper and blows his nose in it and crumples it up and throws it on the ground.
Perfect.
The other thing is, God, there's so many stories from the day we went to the Stockton State Spring Bash.
oh my God, that's like 20 stories in one.
Yeah. But the one I remember, we hung out all day at this massive kegger, and went to this college party. We were still in high school.
Yeah.
And went and we were out of weed. And we're at this party and didn't know anybody. I don't know how we got in.
Fucking beyond.
And anyway, Corey had the Druid with him. And he's like, I can get us some weed. And we sat down on the sofa. put the druid on the middle of the coffee table in front of us and just sat there. And one by one, people came up and said, "What is that thing?" "It's a bong." "No, it isn't." "Yeah, it is, really." "Well, how does it work?" "Well, you got some weed?" "Let me show you how it's done."
Now the druid, I take it, is the tree that you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was like a tree stump.
Did you ever go over to Eric, the head shop, and by the bowling alley there, and see if he would take some off you? Like
No,
you could have made a fortune.
probably could have. Oh, funny.
So I got a Corey, you asked me in the last letter you wrote, what happened to the druid? Because you gave that to me.
Yeah,
It was stolen.
I'm not surprised.
And I know who did it. And I know the town where he probably lives. So if you ever want to get into some more trouble.
Hey, should we fucking out him right here on the podcast?
Yeah, sure. Sure. What the heck? His name is Ted Ayers, and he's a prick.
Perfect.
Too funny.
Well, if he stole it from you, come on. What the
Oh
fuck?
yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah.
Now another Druid story. I don't know if you remember. We were driving to the Jersey Shore in the GTO, and we wanted to smoke. About halfway down, we were like, let's smoke a bowl, and so we broke out the Druid, and we went up, and it was right. We just pulled over on the side of the highway. I should mention this was on the Parkway. And we pulled over on the side of the road, popped the hood, took off the coil wire, got the Druid, filled it up, packed a bowl, and we sat there and we smoked it. Before we were done, sure than shit, a cop pulls up behind us, and we stashed the Druid and everything. And he's like, "What seems to be the problem?" We're like, "Oh, it won't start." So I was like to Mark, I was like, "All right, turn it over, man. The coil wire's undone." And finally I'm like fiddling, and I put the coil wire back on, and boom, fires right up. Cop's like, "Okay, well, be on your way, boys."
What I want to know is whose fucking idea was it to pull over on the Parkway to get high? Nobody thought about, why don't we get off this exit?
I mean, that's kind of, that smoking on the side of the Parkway is dumb as shit, but disconnecting the coil so you have a cover story is freaking brilliant.
But no, that's good.
And
I like that idea.
That's not a story I retained, Corey. So,
Oh, no shit.
yeah, it might not be me.
It was you. It was you. It was you. Yep, we were going to the shore.
Yeah. It's funny how you'll see a picture of yourself and you'll go, "Man, I don't even remember being there." And there I am in the fucking picture.
I'm recently.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. Whose fucking house is this?
Oh my God.
We're gonna have to pull those out too, because I got a bunch of old photos somewhere, and I just hold them up and say, "Whose house is this, and who are these people?" And we can have a little, round robin, because it's from those days. But I only remember some names, not all of them. Some of them are up on the wall over there.
Yeah, I wish, I don't want to get into a kids these days routine, but we didn't have cell phones, and it was expensive to take pictures, and you didn't carry your camera with you. So I've got like zero photographs from the day.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. You used to have to go to the photomat and fucking get your pictures taken, and then they would develop them, and in 24 hours. That was a big thing. You only have to wait 24 hours to see the image. Now it's like, no, I hate that one. No, let's do it again. Yeah, all right, I like it.
Yeah, I didn't start doing photos until like the early 80s, like around 81, 82. I have tons of photos from 81, 82 up, but from 81 prior, no, I don't really have much.
Like the dark ages.
Yeah,
Well, actually, in some cases, it's probably good,
yeah.
because there's gonna be something that, I wish nobody ever sees that.
Yeah, I got a couple stories.
Yeah, me too. I got a couple of those pictures floating out there. I don't want anybody to see it. Yeah, that's too
Why
funny.
don't you guys dig them up? I'll stick them in the opening
Yeah,
montage.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
Funny.
Yeah.
All right, Dave, I met from ShopRite.
Okay, yeah. I
You're
joined the
working-
ShopRite region 78.
My sister worked there too.
Yes, she did.
Seemed like a cool place to work.
I worked there briefly. I did night crew for like 3 months or something like that. I think that's where I met Dave too.
Yeah. I stayed there for 4 years. Night crew, grocery, frozen, you name it.
Gotcha. Yeah, I just did night crew for like, I want to say like 3 months or something. It wasn't for me.
Chasing cashiers.
Shortest job. What was your shortest job? I think mine was 4 days, maybe.
Mine was 3 hours.
Oh, you love it?
I left by lunch.
I
Where are you
had some of
going?
those.
I'm going to get a pack of cigarettes. I'll be right back.
I didn't even have to say that, man. Mine was it's too long of a story. It's hysterical though.
Oh God.
How about best job in high school?
Oh, geez. BP, no?
BP.
BP.
Do you still have that drawing of the gas pump with the big wings? Like,
The Messiah.
yeah, I love that. Man, you had some art chops.
I don't know.
We
So,
made, I will say we made excellent money there and got free gas.
that in of itself, my God.
Well, I remember it was a lot like is that movie Car Wash.
Yeah.
There was this string of characters that came in, like Pete the ice cream guy, always got his $10 a regular, and I close my island and we go in the little booth and get high again.
Yep, yep. And the he always had concert tickets too.
Oh, did he
Oh
really?
yeah, so he went one night. We were going to hang out at Meadowlands when it just opened. We were going to get tickets to see Pat Benatar.
We went.
We went, yeah, because I wound up getting like 16 tickets, which you're not allowed to do. And my mom, who was like hyper vigilant, when she'd do the laundry, she would check the pockets for everything because she wanted to catch us with weed or whatever. I had like $250 worth of concert tickets in my pants, and she sent it through the washer.
Oh,
Oh no.
Yeah. And they weren't as mutilated as you'd think. And I drove back out to the Meadowlands, and they're like, yeah, what are you doing with 16 tickets, motherfucker? And they're like, no, we'll honor the tickets. If anyone has any problem with them, just have them come to the office. We'll let you in. I'm like, oh, fuck. I can't scalp them now. But anyway,
that was a good show, man.
So, what we got to, the tie, I should have saved this story because do you remember who the warm-up act was?
Mm-mm.
David frickin' Johansen.
Ah,
Yes.
And that's when I first heard Personality Crisis and
Funky
all that
but
stuff.
Chic. Yeah, I loved Funky but Chic. He actually played right in Byram at this little tiny place called Salt, and I heard the version of Funky but Chic acoustic, and it was fucking great. I mean, really great. The guitar player was like, so right on the money, and of course, David was such a character anyway.
Yeah. I remember hanging out with the governor of New Jersey's daughter at the Pat Benatar show for a little while.
That's
But I mean, the guitar player for Pat Benatar was fucking great. I do remember that.
that's her husband.
I was like, holy shit, this guy rips. I mean, he was very talented.
He wrote all those songs. That's her husband. And
Yeah.
and the weird thing is, so now they just went back on the road again, and they're calling it Neil Girardo and Pat Benatar.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah. And then they want to go do all the old stuff. So she said, I'm not going to go on the road unless they know that it's you, because he wrote all those songs.
Yeah. Yeah.
So-
No, it was a great show. I do remember it was an awesome time, except I remember that the bathrooms were like the camel cage at the zoo, man. Oh, wow. 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 People just pissing everywhere. They didn't need a toilet.
Well, for those of you that stayed this long, thanks. Hopefully we'll be a little more coordinated next week.
Yes. Thanks for tuning in, and we hope you enjoyed this crazy ass segment. And we will see you again next Sunday, where we'll talk about one of those bands that you probably forgot about and liked.
Dead Kennedys.
DK!